hour, Baroness Alexander of Clevedon.
Thank you. Can I begin by thanking Noble Lords for their
but it takes, collegiate behaviour. Thank you. Question for short debate, rights and welfare of Imran Khan during his imprisonment. The time limit is 1 hour. Baroness Alexander of Clevedon.
Thank you. Can I begin by thanking Noble Lords for their participation in this debate today. It is my first QSD debate, and so I do look to the Deputy Speaker. I assume we don't reference the woolsack to correct me if I make any procedural faux pas, and I can promise that there will be no cricketing analogies because they are definitely beyond me. This debate is a serious matter. It follows a recent question in the Chamber where several Noble Lords who are present here today contributed. Since then, ministers have helpfully provided written answers confirming that His Majesty's government expects the Pakistani authorities to respect fundamental freedoms, including due process, humane detention, and access to appropriate medical treatment for all detainees, including the former Prime Minister, Mr. Imran Khan. I am grateful to my noble friend, Baroness Chapman of Darlington, for participating in this debate and sharing the government's current thinking on this issue. Our debate is timely in view of the deteriorating welfare of Mr. Imran Khan. These concerns span his health, his conditions of detention, his access to medical care, the denial of family access, and recurring questions concerning access to justice. Now, I recognise in raising these matters that Noble Lords can range more widely in the breadth of their concerns than ministers are able to do. For example, ministers have confirmed in their recent answers that they wouldn't advocate for specific medical arrangements for an individual prisoner, however distinguished they might be in another jurisdiction. However, this debate allows the airing of overlapping concerns that span health, welfare, access to justice, and the relationship of those concerns to universal principles concerning human rights, due process, and democratic concerns. Other more expert Noble Lords may comment on the wider context, but I simply want to note that in any country, the recurring incarceration of political opponents generally damages rather than advances the cause of democracy. And so this debate is not to endorse any one politician's programme or their past record. Mr. Imran Khan, like every politician, past, present and future, has made mistakes. But this is about making our voice heard around the concerns that have been raised. In 2024, Amnesty International, reviewing Imran Khan's conviction and sentencing, found several fair trial violations which had resulted in arbitrary detention and denying his right to liberty. Worryingly, Amnesty International noted a pattern of weaponisation of the legal system to keep Imran Khan under detention and away from all political activity. So the former Prime Minister isn't just any other prisoner. And the issue before us and countless people of goodwill who care about Pakistan, its future and its democracy are deeply concerned about Imran Khan. Let me turn to three troubling specifics. Firstly, family access. Despite previous assurances, some of Mr. Khan's immediate family remain effectively barred from seeing him. I understand his sons, Suleiman and Qasim Khan, who are British citizens, have not been permitted to visit their father since December. They should have the right to visit their father in a way that does not impact on their right to British consular protection. Moreover, such humanitarian access does become more acute when a detainee's health is in question. Secondly, let me turn to medical care. There seems agreement that Mr. Khan's medical condition has reached a critical stage. I understand that the Islamabad High Court recently formed a medical board to oversee his treatment, but rejected the request to include his personal physicians. His family have also indicated that they feel kept in the dark regarding the treatment protocols. Thirdly, can I turn to fair treatment? Mr. Khan recently indicated that his wife, Bushra Bibi, is being kept in isolation except for a rarely granted 30-minute weekly meeting. These allegations concern the rule of law and fair treatment. The targeting of family measures to pressurise a detainee is a violation of international norms. So each of these three challenges around family access, medical care and fair treatment concern the conduct of authorities in Pakistan, and so His Majesty's government properly treads very lightly. Can I therefore turn my remarks to the Minister? On the 25th of February, Baroness Chapman very helpfully confirmed to Lord Goldsmith that the UK consistently advocates for family access. That is very welcome. However, given the continuing obstacles surrounding access and the ongoing concerns about the former PM's welfare, can I ask the Minister if she could help secure a meeting with the relevant FCDO Minister, Hamish Faulkner, for a small cross-party delegation of peers to explore humanitarian access for Imran Khan's sons to help secure the visas that would allow for full diplomatic protection so they can visit their father without risking their safety. The Minister will also be aware of the concerns surrounding the detention of other current and former politicians. So we look forward to learning how His Majesty's government can best support demonstrable improvements in human rights, specifically the humane treatment of political detainees, their access to legal counsel, and the importance of not pressurising family members. Now, time does not permit me to dwell on, or at least not dwell for long, on Britain's shared history with Pakistan, its geopolitical importance, and the hopeful aspirations of its young people. I have observed all of these on my own visits to the country to deepen educational links and also through my work with the British Council. Pakistan is a valued member of the Commonwealth, an important trading and security partner. It is a nation which is navigating the rising aspirations of many alongside a recently rising poverty rate. It's a country that experiences the impact of climate change alongside border conflicts, and it wrestles with the balance between military power and their control by civilian authorities in democratic systems. The consequence of all these forces resonate globally, and we have a shared interest in lasting stability, prosperity, and cooperation. Finally, every participant in this debate is aware that the United Kingdom has very deep people-to-people ties with Pakistan. Britain is enriched by 1.5 million British Pakistanis, friends and neighbours, many of whom take a close interest in these matters. We all share an interest in Pakistan's future, the welfare of its citizens, and the upholding of democratic and judicial norms. So the ask today is simple: for the British government to use its undoubted influence where it can to uphold the principles that this country holds dear of fairness, justice, and compassion. Thank you.
My Lords, may I firstly thank the Noble Lady Baroness Alexander for introducing this debate and also the manner with which she did. And I think the sentiment she's expressed and the call she's made is something all participating in this debate will align with. My guiding principle will be justice and complete impartiality. And I'm sure with your support and cooperation, I look forward to Pakistan being one of the greatest nations of the world. The words of Muhammad Ali Jinnah, the Quaid-e-Azam. So we rise today and take part in this debate with a deep sense of concern, a concern regarding the continued detention of former Prime Minister Imran Khan, a figure who, irrespective of political persuasion, remains entitled, like every citizen of Pakistan, to the protections of the law, to the dignity afforded to every citizen under Pakistan's constitutional framework. This, as has already been said, is not a matter of politics. It's a matter of principle. It is about whether the justice envisioned by the Quaid-e-Azam, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, rooted in fairness, compassion, and the rule of law, should be rightly that factor and those factors that continue to guide the Republic of Pakistan. My Lords, having served as the UK Foreign Minister of State with responsibility for our relationship with Pakistan, I dealt with all political parties and indeed directly with Prime Minister the former Prime Minister Imran Khan during his tenure as Prime Minister, and indeed with the current Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shehbaz Sharif. They will both, I'm sure, recall, as I do, that whatever the issues, albeit of deep concern, no matter how difficult they were, we would engage in a manner which, despite differing views and positions, were rooted in mutual respect. And with these sentiments in mind, I wish to make three clear and what I regard reasonable calls, grounded firmly in Pakistan's own constitution and legal traditions. Firstly, the immediate provision of specialist medical attention. Article 9 of the Constitution of Pakistan guarantees the right to life and liberty. The courts of Pakistan, as we've heard from the noble lady, Baroness Alexander, have repeatedly interpreted this to include the right to health and access to medical care. Where a detainee's health is in question, the responsibility of the state is not discretionary, it is absolute. Ensuring that Mr. Khan receives independent specialist medical assessment, including with a professional medical practitioner of his choice, is not an act of concession, it's a constitutional obligation. Secondly, as I called for in the question in the main chamber, full and humane access to his family, specifically the granting of visas to both his sons, both British citizens, Qasim and Suleiman. Article 14 of the same Constitution of Pakistan affirms the inviolability of the dignity of man and the privacy of the home. Family contact is not merely an emotional consideration, it is intrinsic to human dignity and recognized in both domestic jurisprudence and international rights, to which Pakistan itself is party. Denying access to close family members, particularly in times of vulnerability, as is the case now, risks undermining the very dignity the Constitution seeks to protect. Facilitating visas for his son, in my view, is simple, humane, and a lawful step. And thirdly, I call for his transfer under the conditions to house detention. Pakistan's legal framework, including provisions within its criminal procedure, allow for alternatives to incarceration where circumstances justify it, particularly where the health, security, or broader public considerations are at play. House detention would ensure that legal processes are held whilst mitigating concerns around welfare, transparency, and proportionality. It is a measured and lawful course consistent with both precedent and principle. My Lords, alongside these calls, I turn directly to the role of His Majesty's government and to the noble Baroness, the Minister. I ask her this, that would she also take forward, in addition to the request made by the noble lady Baroness Alexandra, to ask the Foreign Secretary directly to use her full weight of office to facilitate access, particularly in supporting the granting of visas and ensuring appropriate consular and diplomatic engagement on humanitarian grounds. I would add, this is not without precedent. The UK FCDO has in numerous instances, indeed I have directly engaged robustly where there are concerns about the welfare and rights of detainees overseas, advocating for medical access, family visitation rights, and due process. Whether in cases involving British nationals or broader human rights concerns, ministers have rightly raised individual cases directly with foreign governments, underscoring the humanitarian considerations sit firmly within the remit of the Foreign Secretary. Indeed, successive Foreign Secretaries have intervened quietly but effectively. That's the British way, where questions of health, dignity, and access arise. My Lords, these are not extraordinary demands. They do not seek to interfere with judicial processes, nor do they preempt outcomes. They are rather a rational call to uphold the very standards Pakistan has set for itself, standards rooted in its constitutions, its courts, and in the vision of its founder. At the time when the eyes of the world are on Pakistan, when it's providing a glimmer of hope in the dark clouds of war, it will also need to reflect on how it treats those in detention, especially figures of such prominence. And if they do the right thing, I'm sure it will further speak volumes about its commitment to justice, compassion, and human rights. In invoking the words of Muhammad Ali Jinnah as I did, we are reminded that nations are not judged by the strength of their rhetoric, but by the fairness of their actions. Let Pakistan demonstrate through these three simple steps, and with the constructive engagement of a friend and partner, such as the United Kingdom, that justice remains not only an aspiration, but indeed a living reality.
My Lords, I would like to also thank Baroness Alexander for securing this really important debate on the rights and welfare of the former Prime Minister of Pakistan, Imran Khan. I'm grateful to the House of Lords Library for its recent briefing. I'm also grateful to Mr Nasser Mir, a senior member of Imran Khan's PTI party, for his briefing note, and I see that he's actually here with some of his colleagues. Both these publications have helped to inform my deliberations over the growing international concerns. Mr Khan's detention following his arrest in 2023 on charges that he denies have become more than domestic legal matters, my lords. It raises fundamental questions about due process, the rule of law, and treatment of political figures within a democratic system. The United Kingdom has long stood for the principle of fair trial, judicial independence, and humane treatment of detainees. These are universal values, not contingent on ones. While Pakistan's legal proceedings rightly are a matter for its own courts, there remains a clear expectation that international human rights standards are upheld in all circumstances, my lords. It is therefore concerning that reports are emerging that suggest restrictions on Mr Khan's access to legal counsel, family contact, and adequate medical care. Allegations of prolonged isolation, my lords, and deteriorating health, if accurate, would fall short of the standards set out in the United Nations Standards Minimum Rule for Treatment of Prisoners, or the Mandela Rules, as we often hear, which guarantees access to healthcare, legal representation, and regular, my lords, regular family contact with family. In that context, I wish to raise a specific humanitarian issue that other noble lords have raised, which is family access. The ability of Mr Khan's two sons, Qasim and Suleiman, to visit their father is not simply a personal matter, my lords. It's an important element of humane treatment. Therefore, I express my support for the granting of visas by the government of Pakistan to enable these two young men to go and visit their father. It's similar to what we would want. I mean, I lost my father 30 years ago, and to be able to go and visit your father, particularly when they're ill, is a basic human right, and it should not be denied to anyone, my lords. Allowing this, therefore, like I said, I express the support of this government to impress upon the government of Pakistan, because allowing this will demonstrate compassion and commitment to basic international norms governing the treatment of prisoners. My lords, this case does not stand alone. I wish to express concern regarding the continued detention of former Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, a senior political figure. His imprisonment, similar to Imran Khan, raises questions about transparency, due process, and the consistent application of justice. Beyond these high-profile cases, there are also troubling reports, my lords, about what has been described as transnational repression. This includes allegations that relatives of overseas critics of the government of Pakistan have been subject to detention, harassment, or intimidation by the security forces of Pakistan. If substantiated, these practices would represent a deeply concerning extension, my lords, of pressure beyond borders and undermines fundamental freedoms. These issues speak not only to individual cases, but a wider confidence in democratic institutions. This debate is not about interference in the sovereign affairs of another state. Rather, it's about ensuring that our foreign policy reflects our enduring commitment to human rights and the rule of law. The United Kingdom has engaged with government of Pakistan on these matters, but it's right that we continue to do so clearly and consistently. The imprisonment of prominent political figures carries broader implications. Where there is a perception, rightly or wrongly, of political motivation or selective justice, public trust in democratic processes can be eroded. This makes it more important that legal proceedings are transparent, fair, and seen to be so, my lords. My lords, I suggest to His Majesty's government continues to pursue three key priorities. One, sustain diplomatic engagement with Pakistan on due process and detainee welfare. Support for credible monitoring to ensure accurate information about conditions of detention. And third, a clear reaffirmation of United Kingdom's commitment to democratic principles and human rights. I wish to align myself with the remarks made by the Noble Baroness Alexander and to support her call for further engagement at ministerial level or Secretary of State level, as Lord Ahmed has suggested. In particular, I support the proposal for a small group of cross-party delegation of peers to meet with the relevant foreign Commonwealth and Development Office Minister. In closing, my lords, this House has a long tradition of upholding fundamental standards, not by dictating outcomes, but by advocating principles. The treatment of any detainee must meet these standards, regardless of status or circumstances, my lords. Let us therefore send a clear message that the United Kingdom will continue to support the protection of fundamental rights, the integrity of legal process, and the dignity of all individuals, my lords.
My lords, I thank my noble friend, Baroness Alexander Clevedon, for securing this important debate. I never had the honour of meeting Imran Khan, but like millions of other cricket fans, I'm so grateful for the pleasure that he has given us over so many years. Ever since independence, Pakistan has sought to embrace democracy, but military chiefs have always lurked in the background. No Prime Minister has completed a full 5-year term in office. This democratic deficit has had a negative effect on its economy, social stability, foreign investment, standard of living, and security. Khan sought to turn the leaf and make a new start. He became Prime Minister in 2018 with support from the military chiefs. This was effectively a power-sharing agreement. The relationship with the military subsequently soured. In 2020, he was removed with a no confidence vote in Parliament, which many say was orchestrated by the military chiefs. In 2023, he was charged with corruption, treason, and illegal marriage. He has denied all such charges. On several occasions, Pakistan's High Court acquitted Khan. Each acquittal was followed by a barrage of new charges. The generals then installed new judges and eventually got the convictions that they wanted. In 2024, his wife, Bushra Bibi, was also imprisoned. Khan is seen now by many as a political prisoner. He has been incarcerated in a tiny cell in solitary confinement and denied access to newspapers and books. His family and friends have not always been able to visit him. His sons have been denied visa to see him. His sisters have occasionally seen him, but under strict supervision. His health has deteriorated, and Khan has been denied appropriate and timely medical care. There is loss of eyesight, which the authorities allegedly have ignored for years. Taking a leaf from a recent open letter issued by former international cricketing captains, I urge Pakistan's government to provide Khan with at least 3 things. Firstly, immediate, adequate, and ongoing medical attention from qualified specialists of Khan's choosing to address his reported health issues. 2, humane and dignified conditions of detention in line with international standards, including regular visits by close family and friends. 3, fair and transparent access to legal processes without undue delay or hindrance. One must now fear for Khan's life. 4 of his predecessors have died from unnatural causes, though one was executed by a military ruler. Humane treatment of Khan can start a new chapter of reconciliation, peace, compassion, and freedoms in Pakistan. It can end the vicious cycle where one set of rulers seeks revenge on the previous ones. This would really help to facilitate economic and social development. The UK government prides itself as champion of democracy and human rights and has condemned political imprisonments in China, Iran, Russia, North Korea, and elsewhere. However, its response to Khan's imprisonment has been muted. It needs to rise above the weight of arms and trade deals. Pakistan is a member of the Commonwealth and receives financial aid from the UK. It is a member of the United Nations and its Human Rights Council. The UK government must use these and other platforms to urge the Pakistani authorities to treat Khan with dignity and compassion. He is now old, sick, and frail, and should be allowed to spend what is left of his life with his family and friends. Thank you.
My Lords, may I also thank Baroness Alexander for securing this debate. My Lords, as many of you are aware, that I was born in Pakistan. I have lived most of my life here in the UK. But I still have strong family connections in Pakistan, and I like Pakistan. I keep going back and forth to see my relatives very frequently. And during my visits, I have the opportunity of meeting politicians from all different political persuasions in that country. But when it comes to internal politics of Pakistan, I always stay neutral. My aim has always been to do everything that I can to strengthen the historical relations between Britain and Pakistan. From the early days, Pakistan has faced enormous internal challenges, including large-scale migration, poverty, floods, earthquakes, terrorism, corruption, and externally, 3 wars and many battles and ongoing hostilities on its eastern borders with India, and never-ending instability and wars in its west in Afghanistan. Pakistan continues to bear the cost of Afghan problem, and so far it has cost Pakistan more than 70,000 lives and billions of pounds of economic losses. Despite this, Pakistan has been able to establish a powerful and respectful place on the world stage as a nuclear state. On the international front, Pakistan has been successfully able to balance its relationship with the US, Russia, China, and Great Britain. Similarly, in the region, it has good relations with Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Iran, Turkey, Bangladesh, and Malaysia. Pakistan is one of the largest contributors to the United Nations peacekeeping missions around the world. More recently, Pakistan has shown its diplomatic abilities during the US, Israel, and Iran war by offering mediation between the US and Iran to end the war by finding a peaceful solution. I sincerely hope, my lords, these efforts may bring an end to this deadly war in the Middle East that is affecting the whole world. However, at home, Pakistan faces challenges of weak economics, law and order, justice, corruption, and political instability. Many reputable international human rights organizations, including the Amnesty International, have criticized the elections process of 2024 and treatment of political workers, including former Prime Minister Imran Khan. It has been alleged that Imran Khan has been denied free access to his lawyers and family members, and that he has been held in solitary confinement. It is also alleged that he has lost 85% of his eyesight in one of his eyes. In my personal capacity, I have raised these concerns with the Pakistan High Commission in London, and I have been told that Mr. Khan has received his eye treatment from Pakistan Medical Institute of Sciences in Islamabad, and that his lost eyesight has been fully restored with glasses. On the question of detention of PTI leadership, I'm being told that most of them are linked with the anti-state action of 9th May 2023 and are dealt with according to the relevant sections of the law. My lords, as I said in the beginning, I stay away from Pakistan internal politics, but justice, fairness, and access to health facilities are universal rights. And hence, in the light of these claims and counterclaims, may I urge the noble lady, the minister, to ask the Foreign Secretary to raise these issues with the Pakistani government for fair trial, justice, and medical care for Mr. Khan and other political leaders, and a free access to lawyers and family members, including Mr. Khan's British-born sons.
Thank you. My Lords, I'm grateful to my noble friend Baroness Alexander of Cleveland for raising this question. The United Kingdom's relationship with Pakistan matters profoundly as we share substantial history through the Commonwealth and through people. Over 1.5 million people in England and Wales identify as Pakistan. Many families here follow events in Pakistan closely, not because they're taking sides, because they care about justice, stability, and the rule of law. My lords, that takes me to the heart of today's issue. Of course, this House is not a court of appeal, and it is not for us to determine, my lords, the merits of any international criminal charge. But it is entirely proper to insist on some basic principles laid out in the ICCPR that we all hold dear: due process, fair trials, and human treatment for everyone. My lords, prominent or powerless, including former Pakistan Prime Minister Mr. Imran Khan. Concerns have been raised about Mr. Khan's detention. Reports of solidarity, confinement, restricted access to family, and serious questions about medical care, including an eye condition where his lawyers have said that he's lost much of the range of his right eye. Many of you know better than me the condition it is now. In December, the UN Special Rapporteur on torture urged Pakistan to address reports of inhumane detention conditions, warning that the prolonged solitude confinement can breach international human rights law, and pointing to reported restrictions on access to lawyers, families, and as well as concerns about adequate medical attention. My lords, I recognise that the government have said both in written answers from the dispatch box and the Pakistan judicial process are a domestic matter. But while we also make clear that Pakistan authorities must regard fair trial rights, human detention, and access to appropriate medical treatment for all its detainees, I welcome that clarity, and I welcome the assurance that ministers and officials have raised these principles with our Pakistan counterparts. But, my lords, I want to press the point that humane treatment is not just a slogan, it's a real world, meaning that apply in all, including Mr. Khan. It means that in practice, prompt access to appropriate medical care. It means regular and meaningful access to leading counsel. And it means family conduct that must not arbitrarily be interrupted. My lords, these safeguards matter in every country because they reduce the risk of ill treatment, injustice, and especially to older detainees and to anyone with serious health needs. My lords, it matters too because that's what happens in high-profile cases felt far beyond one prison cell. Independent reporting from the Justice Project in Pakistan, drawing on Pakistan's prison data, has described the prison system operating at around 152% of authorized capacity. Can you imagine what it must be like? With about 3/4 of prisoners under that trial. My lords, these pressures fall disproportionately on the valuable, on the vulnerable. The same reporting highlights on over 1,500,000 juvenile prisoners and notes that only four prisoners are designed for women, where many women otherwise have been held in separate sections with male prisons. In such an environment, transparency and due course process should be treated as the protections that they are instead of luxury. So I ask the Minister, with further representations to the government, intend to make and to ensure that international standards are met in full for Mr. Khan and for other detainees. My lords, the test of the justice system is not how it treats those with power, but whether it protects the rights and dignity of everyone constantly and without fear or favour. That is what we should stand for, quietly, firmly, and as a friend of Pakistan.
My lords, I would concur with everybody else and congratulate Baroness Alexander for securing this debate, which is clearly very timely. And I want to address the specifics first. Regardless of the merits and demerits of the case against Imran Khan, and I will come to that, his treatment is disgraceful and inhumane by any standards. I mean, solitary confinement is never a good experience and rarely justified. And refusing family or legal humanitarian visits, frankly, is a disgrace. It's just against fundamental principles. And as my noble friend, I think everybody has mentioned, denying his sons the right to travel to visit him is a denial of fundamental human rights. And they are British citizens, so we have some responsibility to support them. I'm afraid that all of that suggests that the regime are kind of anxious to divert attention. And I don't think they're going to succeed in that. They don't want the situation to be highlighted, but this debate is proof that it will be highlighted. Imran Khan and his supporters have denied the charges, and it's actually quite difficult to get detail of exactly what they are and what the evidence has been, but that is really not the point. But the question is, has there been clear, transparent and fair judicial process? That does matter to us as friends of Pakistan and as a member of the Commonwealth and a member of the United Nations. I have visited Pakistan a few times over the years, and frankly, throughout that time, the state of democracy has always been fragile, and to be honest, very much at the behest of the military. I mean, Imran Khan started out as the darling of the military, and the Sharif family were discredited, and indeed they were in turn put in prison. Now the Sharif family are back, and Khan and his party are being harried out of existence, and he's being kept where he cannot rally a revival. I'm afraid it's difficult to avoid seeing politics behind that, regardless of the merits or demerits of the case. And over the years, we've seen a political leader executed, which was shocking to us at the time. We've seen another one, same party, assassinated, others suspended, and military takeovers. None of this, I'm afraid, bears the hallmark of a lively and vibrant democracy, which is what we all want to see in Pakistan and indeed around the world. So I would say to the government of Pakistan, if they feel somewhat aggrieved at the criticism, they should listen to the specific requests that are being made, which are about common humanity and standards, and accede to the requests for humane treatment and access to friends, advisors and families, and also to his wife, who's also being effectively drawn into this, and they should be allowed time together. Indeed, Lord Ahmed's suggestion of domestic detention seems to me to commend itself as the right way forward. And, you know, my lords, this month, 47 members of Imran Khan's party have been sentenced to 10 years imprisonment and substantial fines. I think you have to ask a very serious question about that. That's an awful lot of people for an awful lot of severe intentions.